Welcome, friends, to episode 11 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, this is the podcast where I discuss my life and Lego and everything in between for the previous week. I know most of you are on YouTube watching this, but if you'd prefer, you can find this podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or about 8 other platforms that I don't think anyone's ever heard of. This past week, though, we have a lot happening. Very busy week. This was Thanksgiving week, and I hope all of you that are listening or watching this had a very, very nice Thanksgiving. I did. We had our family over. In fact, it was a very good thing that we had our family over because we had my brother and sister-in-law and their sons, my nephews, trying to figure out the relation to everyone here. They actually stayed in the studio. We don't have a proper guest room in this house. Our guest room is actually Clark's train room, formerly Mrs. Brickitect's office, and overall it's just complete disaster. But speaking of disasters, the Brickitect studio, because of this, is no longer a disaster. Knowing that they were coming over, I knew I had to get my act together down here, and I spent about 2 days cleaning up the studio. I couldn't have them come here and see what this place looked like. Also, there would be nowhere for anyone to stay. So I spent a lot of time getting it cleaned up, and it feels really good to have a clean space. Like, really good. Something that you just let go for too long. And it's one of those things where it happens gradually and then eventually just gets to the point where it's beyond help. It's those things where, say you're building a set for a day and you're making a video about it, and then you finish building the sets, and then you want to go edit the video and you leave that sit there, and then the next day you don't clean it up, and the next day you make a video. It was one of those things where I always do this. I always let things just go really bad, and then I get them really good, and it feels really good, and I know that it's good, but then I let it go bad again, and it just becomes one of those cycles. So this could be my chance. And now that I'm putting out there, this could be my chance to always keep the studio clean. I cleaned up everything when they came over. Like, there was a couple ththings that are left over. I got those things cleaned up. In fact, if you're watching this, you probably remember behind me, there was just this giant mess. No more. So I feel really good about that. And yeah, it's nice to have a clean space that you're into. In fact, if you're listening to this, there's really not much to see here. So if you're in a space right now, this is motivation attack coming out. If you're in a space right now that you're not 100% happy with, that's maybe a little bit dirty, maybe needs dusted, maybe you have some things sitting out, maybe you just need to sort some stuff, being that this is a Lego podcast, possibly. Now's the chance to do it. We're going to be here for a little bit. Take some time, clean up your space, and you'll find by the time that you're done listening to this, things are going to be a little bit better in your room or studio or warehouse or whatever the heck that you have going on with yourself. If you do have a warehouse, call me because I would love to rent that from you. I'm out of space here, but it'll soon be resolved, and you'll know what I'm talking about here very soon. I think most of you have probably gotten a hint by now, but I'm happy right now. I'm happy about that. Studio's good. It was nice having family over. We always host Thanksgiving. Having everyone over here to do something that doesn't involve like shopping or going somewhere or commercial stuff. It was all about just having the family together, having a nice meal that Mrs. Brickitect did an amazing job preparing. It was nice. I love Thanksgiving for that reason. To me, it's just like, what Thanksgiving symbolizes to me is family, and then also the fact that the holiday season's coming up, which I love as well. And I guess that's where we get into the commercial nature of things, because we all know what happens after Thanksgiving. We get right into Black Friday, which apparently now, well, I guess for a couple years now, has started even before Thanksgiving. But we get into Black Friday, and you're probably wondering, Greg, what the heck did you buy for Black Friday? I know you're a big fan of it. This year, I didn't really get anything. There wasn't anything out there that really struck me as like, I need to have that. Lego's done a bunch of awesome sales of big sets that I already have, so I couldn't take advantage of those. Probably the most devastating one of the bunch was the Disney train station. I was like, why did I do it? It was 30% off, I think. Oh, so sad. So I obviously didn't get that. I think the Saturn V was on sale. Ninjago City, I believe, was on sale. All these big sets that I paid full price for came up for sale, but I don't regret it. I know you guys, I always tell you guys, don't pay full price for Lego, but when it becomes one of those things that you just can't depend on these sales, and you obviously don't, at least I don't want to wait like a year and a half for something to come up on sale to get it. I'm okay waiting a couple months for Walmart to drop the price or whatever, but if you're waiting on Lego to get a sale with them, you might as well just forget it. So I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is the one thing that I kind of committed to getting for Black Friday. It turns out that Amazon was supposed to have, and I say supposed to have, the Millennium Falcon, the UCS Millennium Falcon, on sale for, I think, 40% off. It was like $480 or something like that. And I found out about this way before Black Friday. They said the deal was going to come up sometime between November 22nd November 29th. And I think Thanksgiving was it the 28th? Let me look at my calendar here. Thanksgiving was on, we're in December already. Oh, I got to do the advent calendar today. We had the Lego City advent calendar and it almost got forgotten. So Thanksgiving was on the 28th and Black Friday was the 29th. So sometime during that week, the Millennium Falcon was to go on sale, and I knew that it was going to happen fast, so I was always checking to see when it was coming up. So on Friday, which was the 29th, it came up, or it was going to come up. Let's go till like 12:30 p.m. I find out that in about 20 minutes, the Millennium Falcon is going to go live at $480 or whatever the price was, 40% off of $800. I think it was that. And I was stoked. I was like, this is a set that I am very fascinated with, just being that it's Star Wars and the size of it, the scale, just everything about it is enticing to me except for the price, of course. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Also kind of intimidating too, because I knew it was going to take me forever to build. And also I have nowhere to store this, as we've covered in pretty much every episode ever here. But nonetheless, I couldn't resist that kind of deal. So I'm sitting on Amazon, I'm counting down the minutes. They have a timer up at the top here, and I'm ready for the sale to go on at $12.50. And $12.50 hits, and I'm refreshing the whole time. I click it, and it's not available. It says I can go on the wait list or whatever for it, and I'm just like, bruh. I check Reddit where they're talking about this, and apparently no one got it. I mean, there was a few people. When I say no one, I mean the vast majority of people, and I kind of had a feeling it was going to go down that way. But it was live for like 5 seconds. If you would have literally had to hit that button right at the right second to get it. And unfortunately, I wasn't one of those people. I come to find out also that there's people bragging about getting 13 of them because they had some type of programming bot or something like that, and they plan to do all kinds of reselling with this. And that infuriates me because I'm just a collector. I'm not buying this thing to resell. I'm not trying to flip it. I'm not trying to do anything other than to enjoy it. And I imagine for the vast majority of people, they feel the same exact way. They just wanted that set at a really good price. And it seems like the vast majority of people, it wasn't happening and it didn't happen. So I was on the watch list for a couple hours, and then eventually it kind of went just like the sale did. And I didn't get it, but it would have been really cool to actually have scored that. I felt like the adrenaline going. I felt this way before when I've gotten like video game steals. Like I think I got my Switch on an amazing deal once, and it was like one of those things where you had to be really fast on it. I remember finding a Nintendo Wii. All these things are Nintendo related. I remember finding a Nintendo Wii in I think it was it Kmart? No, maybe Walmart. I can't remember. But I remember finding a Wii, and I felt like it was when they were like super rare, and you feel that like adrenaline hit you, that you're getting this thing that's hard to get. And I kind of felt that for the Millennium Falcon, and I definitely would have felt that had I actually gotten it. But nonetheless, brickitect does not have a UCS Millennium Falcon. And I don't know, like a part of me out of spite just wants to buy it at full price just to have it. But I think something way more interesting than that, and I've talked about this on a few podcast episodes before and maybe some videos, I would really love to build a junk Millennium Falcon. And if you don't know what that means, it's just like using pieces that you have, using the proper pieces, but maybe not the right color, and just using what you have to complete it. It would be kind of awesome to do that. I know I'd have to hit Bricklink up quite a bit, but it'd be really cool to try to build one out of junk and just pieces I have. It'd be cool to like use my entire collection to build one and to have it, even though it looked like the rainbow threw up on it. It'd be really fun, but that's for the future. I don't plan to do that anytime soon, but it's an idea in my head. And it'd be an interesting video series if I did like different parts of it and showed my progress and stuff and got people behind it. Maybe we could do like a community thing where it's like, I need 500 of these little grills, and then like we do it together. And I don't know. I have ideas. I have a lot of like big plans that I want to do, especially going into 2020. And I'm excited about that. And hopefully you guys are as well. So that was my bubble getting burst on Black Friday. There is one other thing, I guess, that I still want to get from Lego sales, and that is tomorrow. If you're watching this the day it comes out, on Monday, the day after today, supposedly the Parisian restaurant's going to be 30% off, and I've wanted that set for a very long time. I don't know why I haven't gotten it. I almost got it when I got the diner, but I thought the diner was a little bit cooler, so I got the diner instead, and the Parisian restaurant's kind of just been sitting there, and I haven't really found a deal on it yet, so 30% off of that. Hopefully I can score it. I know people have had issues with Lego's website as well. Like when these things go live at midnight, supposedly the site crashes and stuff, but I don't know how much demand there's going to be for the Parisian restaurant. It's definitely not like a 40% off Millennium Falcon deal, but 30% off of a set that's about to retire. I think is very good, and that's kind of why I'm getting it, because I think the set's beautiful. I love all the levels of it, especially like the restaurant being on the first floor. They have like this artist studio on like the attic or whatever. I really like it. I like these modular buildings. I only have a few. In fact, I think I have the diner, which I've built. I have Assembly Square, which I haven't built. It's in the backlog. And I have the Brick Bank, which is also in the backlog. So I'll have, I guess, a small selection of modulars. And so far, I've really enjoyed them. I guess you could consider Ninjago City a modular. And I have the docks, if you want to consider that. But, you know, kind of different category and stuff. But I'm excited about getting that, and I'm getting that hopefully tomorrow, which is why I didn't buy the other thing that came up on Black Friday. I'm sure most of you have seen it, the Batmobile. That thing, I will say, it looks amazing. It's $250, and if you haven't seen it, it's this giant Batmobile that is based on the 1989 Batman, which is my Batman from growing up. In fact, I don't know if I really watched the 1989 one, but I loved Batman Returns. I have good memories of that movie. I remember doing this thing that most of you kids haven't heard of, and that's going to the video store on like a Friday night with my parents. I remember we got a pizza. We went to the video store, which is actually a place that you walk into to get movies. Think of it like a Netflix, only there's actual physical stuff there. And all the VHSs are lined up on the walls, and I remember getting Batman Returns and watching it that night and loving it. And I remember watching it the next morning and loving it. And I would always do that when we got movies. I would always watch it that night and the next day, because you have to return it the next day. That's the whole thing with I guess, versus Netflix. Even with the disc version of Netflix, you can keep things as long as you want. But with actual movie stores, you have to return it by the deadline, which is typically the next day. Although I think you could get 2 days if you wanted to. But I watched it at least twice, maybe 3 times, and I love that movie, and I love that Batmobile. I think that is probably my favorite Batmobile. But being that it was $250 kind of scared me off a little bit. Maybe 2 years from now it'll go on sale with Lego and I'll be able to get it for super cheap, but I doubt it. Another thing that I'm probably going to regret from not buying it is that they were doing some amazing promos with it. I think you were still getting that little Christmas tree, or not so little Christmas tree, that the promo one. And also they were giving away what I think is even better than the big Batmobile, at least for my setup here. They had this small Batmobile, which is about 400 pieces or so. That was like a replica of the big one that they're giving away for free. And that probably has at least a $40 value, maybe higher, $50, $60, $70 on eBay. Should look it up and see what it's going for. But am I going to regret this? I've second thought this. There's still a chance to get it, I think. I think the Christmas tree is gone from what I've read. The tree is sold out. There's been so many deals with Lego and so many amazing things happening that I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. But the Batmobile itself, you can still get the mini Batmobile. And I sit here, now that I have this newfound wealth, being that I didn't buy the Millennium Falcon, do I spend the 250 bones to get the Batmobile, to get the mini one as well? I don't know. With the backlog that I have and all this stuff, it's tempting, but I think I'm gonna resist. Am I making a mistake though? This is the problem of being a Lego collector. You have, I guess there's 3 different forces here that are affecting me. Maybe there's more for you. This could be a whole podcast by itself. You've got the monetary side of it, which is limited. You've got the space side of things, which is limited. And then, what's the third thing? I just had it. This is no edits. So you got space, you got money, and then you've got the time, I guess, the time of building it, the backlog. That's the third thing. Space, time, and money. All the things that affect us in lives, and especially in the Lego space. Those 3 things I have limited quantities of. Very limited quantities of. Which one's most limited? I would say my space is most limited. In January, the money is probably going to be most limited. We're not going to talk about that, though. No Kappa talk in this episode. But yeah, I'm going to regret this. I'm going to come back and be like, why didn't I buy that? But it is what it is. I made the decision, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to get my Parisian restaurant, hopefully. And not to mention, if you guys didn't see my haul, I have the gingerbread house, which is sitting over here, which is why I'm looking here. I got the Harley Davidson during this whole promo thing, and I got that red Lego brick promo and the Christmas tree. So it's not like I didn't buy anything. It's not like I didn't spend any money. It's just that I'm going to try to limit it a little bit. You got to have some restrictions here, and that's where I'm at on it. So that was all of my Lego buying stuff, and Thanksgiving, I guess, and Black Friday. I didn't go out and get anything else. I was looking at the video game deals, And some of them were very tempting, but then I thought back to my video game backlog, which I haven't really put any time into video games recently, like recently being like the last year, because it's just not my passion, I don't think. Like Lego is like my thing. I love making Lego stuff. I like making Lego videos. I definitely in the next year want to take it more into an artistic direction, and I guess maybe share more of my thoughts on sets and things, because I think people really value opinions of people they watch, and I appreciate that. So I want to put that out there because I always have people that are wondering and asking. But while we're on the topic of video games, this kind of transitions into the next thing, and you guys are probably going to love this topic, but maybe some of you will hate it. If you're a Minecraft detector, you will. If you're not, you won't. But my nephews were here, like I mentioned, and they're playing Minecraft, and Clarky, of course, wants to be with them, and he's hanging out, and Clarky became addicted to Minecraft. He's talking about it like crazy. He's loving the game. In fact, he has those little Paw Patrol headphones that Ryan gave him. He plugged those into the controller and was actually playing a little bit of Minecraft with my nephew, supposedly. I was upstairs talking to the family, so I didn't see this happening, but apparently he was walking around and digging. And last night, he was begging me to play Minecraft together. And I was like, okay, after dinner, we'll play it. And of course, he was hyped. So we come down here last night to play Minecraft for just a short period of time. And I'm sure like many of you that have played Minecraft before, that short period of time becomes a long period of time when you get lost in it. And that's what I did. I had an amazing time. Wow. It is sleeting outside. Today's an amazing day to be having a podcast because it's like sleeting. It's just nasty outside here in Pennsylvania. It feels all nice and cozy here in my freshly cleaned studio. But nonetheless, Clark and I were playing Minecraft last night. And I had this moment where I just was like amazed that we were doing this thing together. Like, I'm playing video games with my son. And I know for most people, like maybe if you have older kids, it's like, whatever. I play games with my kid all the time. But to actually be playing like a cooperative thing with him, where we're in this game together and we're walking around, we find each other, and he's all excited about that. And then I take him to like this cave and we're digging in there, and I'm throwing torches up for him, and he's mining, and I'm giving him pickaxes. It was a really special moment. Like it was one of those things that I really want to remember that moment, because I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of this going forward. In fact, it kind of like got me thinking maybe I should start up Games with Greg again. Games with Greg and Clark Minecraft Edition. You guys would be, you'd be so triggered with the frustration level, because it's been so long since I played, I forgot pretty much how to do anything, and I'm looking things up online, and it was kind of a disaster in that regard. But as for the experience of us doing this together, it was very memorable. In fact, there was this one moment, and this is a funny story. I made a boat. I remembered how to make a boat. In fact, I had to look up how to make an oar. I was like, how do I make an oar? And then it's like, make a shovel. So I made a shovel, made a boat, and I was floating around on it, and Clarky was going crazy. And I asked him if he wanted to float around on it, and he did. So I put him in the boat, and he's sailing off, and I'm like, Clarky, we're never going to see each other again, kind of joking. And I look over, and he starts crying. Like he literally started crying because he thought we were going to be separated in the game. So I got him back, and all was good, but it was really cool. It was really cool. And if you're ever, I know a lot of you guys are younger, girls are younger maybe. If you're ever like debating whether to have kids or not, I highly recommend it. It's been such a rewarding experience. I know it costs a lot of money and a lot of time, and you have to change your life up quite a bit. You can't spend all of your time making Lego videos and live streams and stuff. But there's these moments that happen like that where you just kind of like reflect on it, and you're like, this is incredible. Even the simple things. Like this past week, I think it was this last week, we were outside. I was doing some yard work. You probably saw the video on it if you're subscribed to Greg's World, which is my vlogging channel. We're outside. We're working in the garden beds and stuff like that. And Clark says he needs a tissue. And usually, like, I would go do that for him or have to help him and do all this stuff. But he went inside, got a tissue by himself, came back out. And as silly as that seems, that thing where he just got a tissue, which is like, okay, who cares? To me, it was a symbol of him becoming independent. And it's really crazy to watch this little blob of kid that you've taken care of so long and has relied on you so much, to see him start growing up and becoming like this independent kid with his own personality and his own thoughts and things he wants to do and interests and stuff. It's nuts. And then just seeing him with those brickheads too. I know we've talked about this before with how into brickheads Clark is. To see him build those, oftentimes without my help or just need help here and there, it's really crazy to see things changing. And I know someday I'm going to lose appreciation of this because it's going to be just the way it is. But I hope that I can come back and watch this video or think about these moments and be like, wow, that was where it began. That was something special. And I don't want to lose the appreciation for that. So I'm going to try to keep that in my mind and appreciate and remember these little moments. Speaking of moments, trying to transition to the next topic here, which isn't really related to Lego or anything that I've talked about. Disney Plus. Let's just go into it. I know I'm late to the game here. Most of you guys have been on Disney Plus for quite a while, I would say. It's been out for about a month now, I think, or almost a month. I don't know what I was waiting on. I knew it was amazing, but I didn't pull the trigger on it, even when everyone's telling me that I need to download it to watch Mandalorian, which is like my number one reason that I wanted to get Disney Plus in the first place. I finally did it. And the first night I was down here sorting, I think this was Wednesday night, the deadline for having the studio clean was coming up, and I was tearing apart all of Clark's mocks, which numbered the thousands, it seemed. I'm tearing those apart, and I'm like, let's just download Disney Plus so we have something to watch while I'm doing this. So we downloaded it, and we watched Beauty and the Beast was our first thing that we watched. And it was awesome. Like, I don't know if I'm a cynic here or what, but when I downloaded Disney Plus and I found out, I wasn't 100% sure of the cost. I knew it was cheap, but it's $6.99 for Disney Plus. And I was like, okay, so I download it and I start looking at the selection on there. And I was blown away by what was on there. They always talk about the Disney Vault. I feel like Disney Plus is like they blew the door off the Disney Vault and allow you just to walk in and you can literally watch like any movie that Disney's put out. They have what? Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic, all of these things. Not to mention that Disney, I think, bought 20th Century Fox, 21st Century Fox. So there's a lot of other movies on there as well, like Home Alone, which is my favorite movie of all time. It's just insane the amount of stuff that's on there. And I feel like it's $6.99. Something's up here. This seems too good to be true. And you can let me know if you feel the same way. But how is all this content available for less than $7 a month? I look at Netflix, which I think is like twice that cost. And they have good movies, but not like the caliber of what we're looking at here for Disney. And if you've ever tried buying a Disney movie, like on Blu-ray, they're expensive. They don't go down in price, and like everything's on there. All the animation from when I was a kid, all these Pixar movies, the Star Wars stuff, it is unreal. And a part of me, and this is where I'm getting cynical about this, a part of me thinks that this is too good to be true. And I think they're just trying to get everybody in here at $7 and everyone's going to love it just like I am. And I'm spouting off about it here on my podcast. And then they're going to be like, oh, did we say 7? This is like 2 months from now, maybe longer. We meant 8. And then it's like a year from now, it's 9. And they're going to slowly but surely raise that price up. Because me personally, for what's on there, I would probably, and I think a lot of people probably feel the same way, I would probably be willing to drop $15 a month on it. Like if they made it $14.99, I would be like, okay. And of that amazing stuff, one thing that I finally watched that I already alluded to was The Mandalorian. I am fully caught up, and I did something that I love to do. I binged it. I ended up watching all 4 episodes literally in one sitting, and I was hooked. I think it's such a good show. I'm trying to think, would I be as interested in it if it wasn't Star Wars related? I don't know if that's the case, and I don't know if I would have given it a chance, but being that it was Star Wars, which is something that I really love, even though I make fun of it, and I kind of spoof Star Wars a lot by saying Star Wieners, and we get all the names wrong. That's more just fun than anything. I love Star Wars. I thought The Mandalorian, like getting into the Star Wars world and seeing more of that, man, it was so good. I'm not going to do any spoilers here because I know there's probably other people that are like me that haven't seen it, and maybe all you've seen is some of the spoilers that have come out, especially with one individual in particular, which I guess I'm just going to put out there. If you don't know about this yet, you haven't been on the internet, but there's this little baby Yoda. And I kind of have a funny story related to this. I wasn't exactly sure when I started watching The Mandalorian what the time frame was in this, because you know how Star Wars takes place over all these different time frames and things. I wasn't sure if it was set like before the Star Wars movies or after, and I started watching it, and I guess I assumed that it was set before the Star Wars movies. And then when the spoiler came up, which is the baby Yoda, I was like, oh, that's Yoda, like way, way, way back in the day. And I thought, okay, cool. Like this is like Yoda's origin story and how he got started and stuff. But then I saw like the stormtroopers and I started thinking about all that and I realized, okay, this is not actual Yoda. This is like another like Yoda, like another Yoda, whatever species Yoda is. I don't know if they've ever described that. And there's probably Star Wars people right now that want to like strangle me through their earbuds or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know that much. I've seen the movies, but I don't know like all of the lore behind it, and I haven't read the Star Wars books and stuff. But apparently, this is like another little, just another Yoda, which I guess is why he was so valuable. And apparently, Yoda has his powers like from the time he's a baby. He didn't even have to work on it. But yeah, the last episode is really awesome. It kind of tied into the set that's come out. Is this going to turn into spoilers? I think it is a little bit. That ATST set from the Mandalorian that's out. It kind of tied into that a little bit, I guess. And I started looking at that set. I kind of want it. The ATST is pretty cool, but I want that Mandalorian minifig so much. And I started thinking like, okay, maybe I'll just get the minifig instead. And I looked on Bricklink. And my God, he's selling for like $20 for that. And the set's only $40. Plus you get other guys with it as well. So I was thinking maybe what I can do is buy that set, even though it's still selling at full price, which is discouraging. Buy that set, keep the Mandalorian, and maybe sell the ATST or whatever. But what I think the smarter thing to do is to wait until it hits $32, which it will through Walmart. 20% off, and then just buy it and enjoy it and have the Mandalorian and all that stuff with it. So I really want to get that set now. It wasn't one that I was originally interested in, but now that I'm watching the show and I'm seeing the characters and things, and I just want to be a part of that. Speaking of sets that are related to movies, I try to do these interesting segues that really never work. Also on Disney Plus, last night we watched Captain Marvel, finally. I haven't seen it yet. I watched it last night. And I have to say it was pretty good. I loved all of the timepieces. Like this is set in 1995, so there's all these kind of throwbacks to that. They kind of did it in a way like Stranger Things does it, where they really hit you over the head with it to let you know that this is the time period you're in. But the movie was really good. I think for girls and women in particular, this movie could be very empowering for them. And even as a guy, I thought it was a fantastic movie. I don't think you can really go wrong with these Marvel movies whatsoever. Like, I haven't seen one that I didn't like, but that was the one that I think that may be the only one that I haven't seen in the whole spectrum of Marvel movies that took us up to Endgame, which apparently I was looking through the list last night, and I'm pretty sure that I saw Endgame on Disney Plus, which is baffling to me. It's baffling. Like, again, how is it possible that you have that movie on there? Like, you are killing off DVD sales if people are streaming. No, people don't buy DVDs. People download digital movies. Aren't you kind of killing those sales? Because I think there'd be a lot of people that want to get that movie for Christmas, but I'm pretty sure I saw it on there. And again, this Disney Plus thing is remarkable. I feel like you could probably, if you're into Disney movies, and especially family friendly and kids stuff, you could probably cancel everything that you have and literally do nothing but just watch Disney Plus by itself. And you would have endless entertainment on there, especially with all the amazing Pixar movies that have been out, the Disney animated movies, like the ones from my childhood, like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, which we watched. You have Lion King. They're all on there. Pocahontas. Oh my goodness. Like, if you haven't seen those movies, if you missed anything in the Disney vault that's been sealed away or whatever, now's the time for $7 a month. In fact, I think there's even like a free trial or whatever. I'm trying to remember I think I put my credit card information. I don't know when you get charged for it, but geez, I'd be willing to pay twice that, like I mentioned, for Disney Plus. So Disney Plus, if you're watching this podcast or listening, if you'd like to sponsor me, I have nothing but good things to say about you. In fact, we could probably even get you a little more money if you want to raise your prices up. I don't think anybody's going to cancel. And mark my words, I'm pretty sure that a year from now, I don't think Disney Plus is going to be $7. There's going to be something that it's the same way that Netflix worked. They know that they got people on the hook, and most people aren't going to leave when they raise the price. So we'll see if that happens. Again, I hate to be the cynic here, but I feel like that's going to happen. And I feel like that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover this week. We had, a very busy week with Thanksgiving happening and getting the studio organized, trying to buy sets, getting some sets, waiting for more sets to come up, playing Minecraft with my boy for the first time together, and maybe making that a thing. Again, I'd love to maybe get into Games with Greg and streaming that, even though it's going to be a disaster. Speaking of live streaming, though, one last thing I want to end this with is I've been thinking about live streaming lately. We did a live stream together on Wednesday, which I think I forgot to talk about in this, so continue on. We did a group live stream on Wednesday, and it really brought me back to how much I really love live streaming, just hanging out with my friends and talking to the chat and doing all that. So I do want to get back into streaming. I know a lot of people want to see me do that again, and I've had people ask me when my next stream is. I want to do it. I want to get back into it. I want to have that connection. I like that real-time connection that we have. Even if it's not building something, if it's just talking like this where we can be back and forth, I would love to do that. So stay tuned for that in the future, and stay tuned for, I guess, Games with Greg and Clark Minecraft Edition and all the other stuff that's happening here. I'll let you guys know, I'm sure, if I'm able to secure the Parisian restaurant. Maybe I'll do a deal-a-tech to remind you guys of it as well. And we'll just keep rocking out this Lego life as long as we can. I'm having a great time. I can't think of anything more that I want to do with my life than to enjoy this hobby of Lego and share it with the world. And as long as I have the opportunity to keep doing that, I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here. Thank you for your time. And as always, we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces podcast.